All right. Want to say something before I get started on the game. Now that I got a platform to do so, Luke Fickle. I want to tip my cap to him, and I was sad on Sunday, and that's selfish. I was sad personally. I was sad for our university and our institution and our city because that's how good I think he was as our football coach. And that's selfish. So I texted him that, but I also congratulated him because I know him. He's become a friend here in the last year. He made a ton of efforts when I first got here, a ton of efforts to reach out to me and, build a relationship with me and give me good, genuine advice. And I'll never forget that. I'll always value that, and he'll be a friend forever as far as I'm concerned. So I'll miss having him around, but just want to take the opportunity publicly to say how much I appreciated what he did here, how much I think we can learn as a program from what he did, and we have learned, and we've tried to implement some of the things that we've learned from looking from a distance, talking to him and his staff. And I'm going to miss him dearly, but I do wish him and his wife Amy the absolute best because they are great people. And then finally, I got so much faith in John Cunningham and the rest of this department, university. We'll find another great football coach, and the football program will continue to move forward. But a lot of that will be because of the work that Luke Fickle did to get us where we are, and his staff and his family. So anyway, just wanted to start with that. It's good to come back and win. It's good to be back in our own building. We didn't say this to our guys, but the Maui tournament's been going on for so long, and it is the best preseason college event. You do want to play in those events, but there's a long history of teams coming off of that event, especially teams on the East Coast and Midwest coming off of that event and really struggling the next week because it's tough. We all had a hard time getting out of bed this week, and I never have a hard time popping out of bed during basketball season. So it's a tough thing. Monday I thought was one of our worst practices of the year. I went home angry, couldn't sleep all night. I was so dang angry about practice. And then we talked to some other coaches from other teams, and they said they had their worst practices that were in Maui, and they had their worst practices of the week too, or the year too. So I think, to come out here and have some good moments, have some not so good moments, but to feel a win, to be back in our own building coming off of that trip, I think that was needed and definitely feel good about that part. David DeJulius scores his 1,000th point, so really proud of him, really happy for him. That's an important milestone, and it's not like there's 100 people on that list, but that is not a major list when you think of how many people play college basketball and how many people play high-major college basketball. So to tip his cap to him, I'll hopefully answer a couple of your questions before we even have to take them. We said it in the press conference a couple days ago. We got to become a defensive-minded team. We got work to do there. We preached it this week. We worked on it this week. I'd like to think we preach it and work on it every day, all the time anyway. And I thought there were moments our group really tried to embrace that, and there were possessions that were great, and then there were possessions that weren't. And we're going to get this team there defensively and on the backboards. We will. I'll be in a grave before we don't get there. We are going to freaking get there. Again, losing John Newman has made that more challenging, but it also gives other guys a chance to step up, and we have to do it collectively, not just with one or two guys. And so that's the focus right now, because if we do that, we all know we're going to be a good offensive team. It's inconsistent offensively. It was inconsistent tonight, but when it's good, it's pretty dang good.
You had a stretch tonight in the middle of the second half where the offense went cold. You threw it into Vic, got a bucket at the rim, and then seemed to open everything back up.
The roll, we hit him on the roll, Dave. Yeah.
How much is having him as a threat to be able to give you some easy buckets, changing things offensively?
We got to get the ball inside. We got to get the ball inside. We got to put pressure on the rim. We got to get fouled, right? We can't just be a jump shooting team because that's going to be hot and cold. I think we're a pretty dang good jump shooting team. So we are trying to find ways. We've implemented actions to get Vic catches. It wasn't Vic's best night offensively. He'll be the first to tell you that. And he's been so dang good. He was due for a night that maybe it wasn't going his way. And he looked a little fatigued, I thought, at times tonight. But we have to do that. We're trying to get Landers catches in the post. We've given Landers the ability to go down there and post in some of our flow offense, and we got him there. We called some actions to get him in there. One time we turned it over, and Dan and him didn't get a good catch down there in the corner in the first half. But we have to put pressure on the rim off the bounce. We have to put pressure on the rim through the post, and you'll see a concerted effort to continue to do that. I do think that there was more space on the floor tonight, and we broke down. Like Rob got downhill a couple times and made some nice plays at the rim and for other people, and we got to continue to create more space to drive the basketball.
What's your message at halftime of a game like this where you have a little bit of a lead, you're probably expecting to win? How do you make sure they don't come out and play flat?
Defend. They're shooting, I think at halftime, they're shooting 46%. I'm 48%. That's even dang worse. They're shooting 48% in the first half. That's about the first thing we said. It was the middle of what we said. It was the last thing we said. You always talk about some of the X and O things that could help. I'm not going to bore you guys with that, but that was the gist of it. Let's just try to hold them, get them under 40 for the game. We didn't do that. We got them to 33 in the second half, but I'm sorry. Yeah, we got them to 36 in the second half, which was 42 for the game. We're trying to get them under 40. That was the gist of the message.
DeJulius was kind of in an offensive slump in that 3-game stretch, the three losses.
Well, he wasn't in an offensive slump in Louisville.
There were 3 straight losses.
Before Louisville.
Correct.
Yeah.
So my question,
I try to forget losses. It's hard. No, I don't forget losses.
My question is,
I thought you were thinking about the 3 games in Maui.
No. My question is just from an X's and O's perspective, have you done anything differently that you're willing to share to get him more looks and easy looks at the rim, or is it just him being more aggressive?
Shot selection is an important part of us becoming a better offensive team. It just is. And it's a challenge because we have 3 guys that can make really, really tough challenge shots. And sometimes, especially Dave and Jeremiah, sometimes shoot it better taking a tougher shot than an open shot. Now, everybody that's followed us since I got here, we see it as coaches. Whatever y'all see, we see 100 times clearer. And so you want them to have the freedom to be themselves. You just want to make sure we're doing it at times we don't surprise our teammates. So David, man, in space and in isolation and the step back, that's a really tough shot for the average player, for most players. It happens to be a really good shot for David. We just want to make sure when he takes it, we got the boards covered and we're not surprised because it is a good shot for our team. And a similar thing for Jeremiah. It's when we take those shots and they surprise us as a team, that's when they're not necessarily good shots, even though those guys are very capable of making them. So it's a lot more about where the rest of the guys are, and they can anticipate it and get to the offensive board and get some balance in terms of our defense covered while the shot's going up. That's kind of the gist of what we're trying to do because we know we're going to have to let them shoot some tough ones, and for every time they do that and you think frustrated, don't get frustrated. It's when they make them. But we just got to do it when we have the board covered and we have our defensive balance covered as well.
Just going back to what you were saying about becoming a defensive-minded team, what are the challenges that come with that kind of being your ethos? And obviously, if it was as easy as we're going to become a defensive-minded team, you guys would be that. But when you look back at your career, when you've had to kind of mold these teams into being defensive-minded teams first, what do you see as how you've been able to do that? Relentless will.
I'll just be relentless about it. I've always been that way. I ain't going to stop now. I try to grow and adjust as a coach every year, but when it comes to guarding people and rebounding, it's what I believe. I'll go to my grave believing that, and I'll be on it every single day. And I think I have some guys that understand how important it is and want to be good at it, but we just got to relentlessly work at it. And that's probably not the tricky answer you wanted, but it's just going to be a relentless approach until we get where we're supposed to be there.
The numbers say you were good on the glass. Were you happy with the effort tonight on the glass and how you guys did on both ends?
Yeah, like early in the game on the offensive board, I thought Vic got one that kind of got us going. Jeremiah gets one. I didn't like that shot. You know, he gets one on the free throw line area and shoots it. We practice what we do on the offensive board. That was one that, you know, surprises us, for example. But he got one, and somebody else gets one too. So I think that's where we need to be consistent, because we can be consistent on the offensive board. We still have a ways to go on the defensive board. But big picture, I was okay with it. I'm sure I'll watch the tape and be even more dissatisfied, but you look down at the numbers, and you do got to be pleased when you're 40-22 on the board and 14-4 on the offensive board. So that part's good.
Rob Fennessy, team high plus 23 tonight, season high 7 points. What was working well for him out there?
We tried to open the floor up a little bit more. I don't know how easy that is to see for you guys, but we're trying to, when we break down, we're trying to open the floor up a little bit more. And you know, I'm trying to guide on him. We got to find his offensive role within this team, and I think he's a guy that can get downhill and get into space, and I thought he did that tonight and made some nice plays.
Landers really made it an emphasis to get to the line tonight. Obviously, you finished 5 from 8 from the free throw line, but you guys went 12 of 18 as a team. Was there something you guys were seeing out there that you could get downhill and attack and really get to the free throw line?
Well, he missed his first 2, I think, and I couldn't believe it because he's a damn good shooter, guys. But no, I mean, I said it. I mean, yes, we're structurally, in the way that we practice, we are trying to make sure that we are structured in a way that we put more pressure on the rim and try to get fouled. He got some of his fouls, you know, getting guys in the air with his shot fake out in the perimeter, so it wasn't as much attacking the rim for him. He did get, I think, an offensive board down there and got fouled one time. But, yeah, we got to get fouled. He's got to get fouled. David's got to get fouled. Vic's got to get fouled, that type of thing.
I'm sorry. I go. Coach just told us about a statistic in Maui, how the record of teams coming back after Maui, and it's not that good. So as he said, it was kind of good to get that bug out. But we had a good team coming in that was hungry. We just want to go out there and play with big-time effort, and I think we did that tonight.
Was it important at the start of that second half to kind of keep it going and see it go through a couple more times to get you on a roll?
Say it again.
Make a couple baskets to start the second half to keep the field going.
As a collective?
You in general.
Like the first 2. I wanted to kind of be aggressive because I also knew after that they was going to start sending 2 to a ball, and then it was going to be able to be 4-on-3 on the backside. So I just wanted to be aggressive, not only for myself but for my teammates as well.
David, you crossed over the 1,000-point mark for your career. Just talk about that a little bit. And Landers, you're nodding as well.
A lot of blessings, a lot of perseverance, as I said, a lot of guys like Landers and my teammates who allow me to be me each and every day, and a lot of coaches who put me in position to be successful. So as much as I would love to take credit, it's a lot of factors that go into it, and I'm extremely grateful to be here for sure.
So Coach emphasized really on playing inside, said Vic needed to get more touches. Just talk about his performance tonight. He finished with another double-double, and how did that allow you guys to really get to your spots and get some points on the board?
For me, honestly, he probably the best big in our league. I feel like when he got somebody on his back, 9 times out of 10, he either going to get fouled or he going to score. I feel like that's how we all feel.
David, during those 3 straight losses, you kind of went into a little offensive funk. Are you doing anything differently since then, or is it just staying aggressive?
Really just staying aggressive, coming. This is my first time where at the beginning of the year, you're at the top of the scouting report, and you get guys defensive coverages, especially on the ball screen. So I dove into film a lot, but also Coach designs a lot of sets that put me in a position to be successful. And we got great teammates around you. Guys can't load up. So. Yeah.
Did you say this is your first year being at the top of the scouting report?
Well, at the beginning of the season. I ain't started out last year at the beginning of the scouting report.
Okay.
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
Yeah.
I played against you.
I said, where was he on the Memphis Scout?
I think it was the first game I got the kitchen sink for. That was the first game.
That's just because we was the smartest, but there's no
right.
way you was nowhere else on the scouting report.
Landers, you had 8 free throw attempts. Seemed like you were going to your pump fake a few times. Were you trying to get to the line tonight?
Okay. As the first one, I was. But I didn't think I was going to keep getting them and getting those attempts. But I got to make more than 5 out of the 8. I'm disappointed.
Dave, does it feel different than last year? Like you hit a little patch in the second half where the offense went cold. You threw it into Vic, got a bucket inside. That seemed like it opened everything back up. Does that feel so much different than last year?
Oh, for sure. But last year we had a big duel, one of the arguably the best defensive big in college basketball. But this year we got an offensive load in Vic, and we want to utilize him. And when you got that presence, it opened up the floor for all our perimeter offense for guys like me, him, JD, Shui getting down in the lane, Dan being able to be himself down the lane as well.
David, you guys are you're undefeated when you go over 18 points this season, and then you guys have obviously lost every game that you've been under 10 points. Do you kind of feel like that bellwether, and do you feel that responsibility to make sure that you're putting up enough offense for this team?
Oh, for sure. This starts with us, along with the other vets as well. But, comes responsibility. Each and every day is motivating. You want to get up and you want to be as best as you can for your team. And not only just to score, but to be the hardest working guys in the gym. And I feel like me and Landers is at the forefront of that. So, yeah.
Down at the final stat sheet, 40-22 on the glass tonight. Obviously, 14-4 on the offensive rebounding side. What does that mean to you guys to see that battle on the glass? Obviously, 14 offensive rebounds is a really big factor for the win tonight.
I feel like it make us aggressive, and it just give us extra opportunities to maybe score if we struggling in the half court or not getting anything in transition. So guys getting in there and getting their hands on them offensive rebounds give us second opportunities to score again.